Welcome back, class. This is Mrs. Albritton. Let's move on to number 5. The dimensions of a rectangle are shown. So we've got a rectangle with a length and a width of square root of 18 and 3 square root of 32. We need to find the area and perimeter in units of the rectangle. Take a look at the bullet here. Area is always measured in square units. So let's choose the correct answer. Keep in mind that when we start with area, the formula for area is length times width. So in order to calculate the dimension of the area, we've got to multiply the length times the width. So let's start with radical 18 times 3 radical 32. So remember, when you multiply radicals, there's 3 steps. Step 1, multiply the coefficients. Step 2, multiply the radicands. And step 3, simplify. We also found out that in order to keep our radicands as small as possible, we can simplify them first before we start doing any multiplication. And I think I'm going to go ahead and simplify them first, because 18 times 32 is going to get pretty big. It's going to be a huge number that you'll have to simplify later without a calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and let me break down 18, 9 times 2, and then 3 times 3. So I've got all primes now, and there's a pair. I'll do the same with 32. I can use 8 times 4. Here I've got 2 times 2, 4 and 2, and then 2 and 2, all prime. Here's a pair, and here's a pair. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to end up with, over here with the square root of 18, I can pull out one of these 3's, so 3, but then there's a 2 that's left, so radical 2, times, notice on 3 square root of 32, I've got that coefficient 3 already there, but then I can pull out a 2 from the first pair right here, and a 2 from the second pair right here. But then I have this 2 that doesn't have a pair, so it stays under the radical sign. So now what I'm actually multiplying is 3 square root of 2 times 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, square root of 2. So let's go back to the steps. Step 1, multiply your coefficients. The coefficients are 3 times 12, which are 36. Multiply your radicands, step 2, which are 2 times 2. That gives me a square root of 4. Now keep in mind that the square root of 4 is a perfect square, and it equals 2. So 36 times 2 gives me 72. So my area is 72. Now let's find perimeter. And we've talked about this over the past several days. Perimeter is length plus width plus width. So let's list those out. We've got square root of 18 plus another square root of 18. Because remember, perimeter is the distance around all 4 sides. 3 square root of 32, 3 square root of 32. We're adding, and remember, the most important thing about adding is you must have same radicands. Right now, we've got these 2 are the same and these 2 are the same. Now, if I combine those, square root of 18 plus square root of 18 is 2 square roots of 18. 3 square root 32 plus 3 square root 32 is 6 square root 32. Notice we keep a common radicand. I didn't add the 18 and 18 to get 36. I didn't add this 32 and 32 to get 64. We have a common radicand. Now, at this point, they're still not the same. Got square root of 18 and square root of 32. So in order to determine if I can get a common radicand, I've got to simplify. See what happens when we get that done. 9 times 2, 3 times 3. These are all prime. There's a pair. I'm going to use 8 and 4 here, just like I did up above. This gives me 2 times 2, 4 times 2, and then 2 times 2. So here's a pair, there's the other pair. So what do I end up with? I've got, well, a 2 already here as my coefficient. And when I pull a 3 out of the pair, that goes with my coefficient that was originally in the problem. And then my square root of 2, because this 2 on the tree has no match, no pair. Plus the original 6 from the problem, and then I pull a 2 out of the first pair and a 2 out of the second pair. Then this 2 right here has no match, so it stays. And now look, they have a common radicand, square root of 2 and square root of 2. That means we can add the coefficients. I'm going to move this up just a little bit so we can see a little more space. Okay. 2 times 3 is 6. Radical 2 plus 6 times 2 is 12. Times 2 is 24. Radical 2. And when I total my coefficients and keep my same radicand, I'll end up with 30 square root 2, because 6 plus 24 is 30. So this is my perimeter. That means the answer is going to be B. I have a perimeter of 30 radical 2 and an area of 72 units square. And I'm going to finish up the last 3 problems on the next video.